Morning fans, and welcome to the official first episode of the second half of 2019. Now, I've been saying for the last couple of weeks that this is the quiet period of the year. Well, you wouldn't think so. Still been a heck of a lot of things going on, but there's been a little bit of a calm down on the national off-road and a calm down on the GXCCs, which is, of course, the main tours that I've been covering. But hang on to your hats because there's still 4 incredible events that are going to be reviewed on this week's show. The first event, the Cancer Time Trial Attack in association with 424 Racing. So that went down last weekend. It was the weekend that I was away up at the Desert Race. We'll also be reviewing that in this show. But let's start things off with the Cancer event. A nice event and a good format. I like these kind of formats. They're fun. It's a race without being a race. You just lined up. I think the track was open for 5 hours or something like that. It was a 32-kilometer loop, nice and basic, nice and simple. And we expected to see the guys go up there and actually do a little bit of bike tuning. That's exactly what happened. Some of the key players that went up there, the guys that went and laid down the top 3 times on the day, it was JC Nienoba. He walked away with the fastest time. Taki Bodjodges, those guys were flipping it out the whole way through the day. In the end, I think they did around about 5 or 6 laps, and they got a great setup on their machines going forward into the rest of their tour. And third place was from the Clan McLeod, Darren McLeod. So that was very cool. Not big numbers on the day, but every single cent went to the Cancer Association. And I talked to Casper Pieterse this weekend when he went and raced up at Farm Jam, and he said they really achieved some good numbers. So thank you for everyone who was involved in that, and thanks again to John O'Horsforth from 424 for facilitating that. We hope to see a few more events like that in the future. What else? Well, I mentioned the fact that whilst the Cancer Association Sprint Time Trial Attack was going on, it was the Desert 1000. So the Desert 1000 for the last 4 years has been part of the National Championship. This year, not part of the National Championship, but it still was part of an invitational round for the Botswana Nationals. So we still had bikes, quads, and cars all racing on the same terrain, but very small numbers this time around. Predominantly, we had all of the bots, bikes, and quads getting the job done. But we still did have a couple of SA superstars that went up there. The SA superstars that crossed the border were Tay Perry. She's trying to get as much mileage under her little belt as she can as she heads towards Dakar 2020. I'll cut to the chase. She qualified high inside the top 5 overall, that's counting quads and bikes, and she walked away with the top 3 overall on bikes after spending hours and hours in the saddle. Day 1 for the bikes, by the way, the winning 450, or the winning pro bike, should I say, was over 8 hours in the seat. Those were long, tough days in the saddle. It was Mike Wilkinson that walked away with the win, and a great job for him. Rob Pollock had some mechanical issues, wasn't in the best form, but he still ran a number 2, with Tay running a number 3. That was on the bikes. And then on the quads, it was great to see Zaid Noble, the man who is the big guy behind NS Racing, who was also a facilitator in bringing our very own Gideon Jacobs and Marty Backfisher up across the border to come and play. Zaid, great job to see him and the NS squad lock out the 1, 2, 3 overall podium. Marty managed to smash a 2nd in category and 5th quad overall. That's a real high finish, one of the highest finishes we have ever seen on the ladies for the quads. And Tay, also on the bikes, the highest ever lady finisher in the desert. So our girls did a fantastic job. Unfortunately for Gideon, he had some issues on his normally bulletproof KTM, and he was unable to complete this year's desert. That was all good for Marty, though, because she had the best and fastest spanner hands in the business from 421 Racing in the pits, making sure she could get the job done. So well done to everyone who competed and raced at the desert. It was a rough and wild one. Then moving forward into this weekend. This weekend, there were 2 big events for me. There was Farm Jam round number 3 up at Middelburg, which is always a bit of a nail-biter at this time of year. The crossover from the end of June into the beginning of July, right smack bang in the middle of school holidays. Didn't affect it. There was still over 180 entries on the kids, quads, and bikes, and we had some fantastic racing. The track held up nicely, a little bit dusty, but didn't actually cause too many problems. There was a lovely breeze that actually got rid of that wind, so hopefully that breeze hangs around for the next month or 2 as we go racing once again. It was Airtime Erhard Bierkus that walked away with the big win on the bikes, and he put a big win in place as well. We haven't seen him race in almost a year, so cool to see him get back onto the smoker. I thought he was going to get beat by some of the bigger bikes, but he whole shot and he ran the numbers. It was MV Pretorius, the guy who won round number 2 on the Vans Racing 350 Husqvarna, that got 2nd place. His brother, Lo Pretorius, don't adjust your sets, that is Lo Pretorius, formerly of Vans Racing, now on a Trax KTM 250 as he moves up out of 125s. We'll see that properly at the next round of the GXCCs. He ran a very good 3rd place, and Matty Wilson on the Whole Shot Racing Husqvarna got a job done. He was on the 125. He entered into the Pro Bs. He got 4th place overall, just ahead of the 5th place overall and the first of the seniors from Ludwig Janse van Vuren. So those were the top 5 bangers. And in the quads, it was the Busman, Jacques Struwik. I don't have a picture of Jacques racing his quad. I'm not quite sure why. He was too fast. We couldn't catch up with him, but he got the win, and he backed it up with a 3rd place in the bikes seniors category. So he's going after Hannes Simon's crown from last year as the ultimate Ironman. But a very, very cool event. Now the Farm Jam guys take a roll off. They've got about a month and a half, almost 2 months until their next round. So they'll be hoping to get out of all the midwinter dust before they go racing once again. So that was what was happening this weekend. It was also Impy. So Impy 2019, we've seen a couple of winners. The first Impy was Double T, Travis Teasdale. Since then, it was the Slayer, William Slater, who dominated. Last year, it was Blake Goodsight. So we're going to see if we're going to have a new winner. Only ever 3 champions on the 5-year running of the Impy. This year, we confirmed that. It's Flanny. Flanny has had an amazing season so far. He has been all dominant. He's only lost 1 round of the championship so far to Scotty B. Burberry. And now into round number 4, which was the doubleheader, actually, round number 4 and number 5 here at Impy. He walks away with another win in the E2 category to extend his championship points lead. The good news for him is the winner at the Impy for the time trial was Luke Walker. So Walker is robbing points off his closest rival, Scott Burberry. Walker actually maintained his number 2 position on the race as well, so walked away with a 2nd. That's his highest ever finish in the national championships in the E2s, knocking Scotty B down to 3rd place. But those are really the key riders to watch out for in the championship as we go forward now into the official second half of the season. The big kid in the E1s, as always, William Oosthuizen, didn't have a great start to the event, actually got out-qualified badly by Lloyd Kirk. So Kirky set himself up nicely. Then on day 1, Kirky had a bit of a fall, picked up a bit of a niggling injury, but did enough to bring it home at the end of a doubleheader weekend in 2nd place in class for the E1s, with William Oosthuizen, the big kid, going on top once again. That means the big kid on the Husky has been undefeated on the season. That is absolutely huge for him, and he is just barreling, rock and roll, ready to get that number 1 plate at the end of 2019. So those are the big events that went down. Oh, also in the high schools, big mention here as well. It's been a bit of a flip of a coin the whole way through the season to see if in the high schools it's going to be Ryan Peltzer or Heinrich Aust. Heinrich Aust dominated the Impy this time around. So he's now extending and is a clear leader in the high school category. Okay, so what else is coming up in the racing month of July? It really starts to pick up pace now. So this coming weekend, it's a great weekend for us. Because remember, this year, 2019, is the first time ICE, Inner City Enduro, goes 3 rounds on the bounce in one season. Predominantly, for the last 5 years, it has just been all down in PE, a one-off event. This year, it is running as a true series, a triple threat. So we've already had PE. It's Joburg this time around at Fast KTM out at Alberton. On Saturday, it's the qualifying day, where everyone is trying to make it into the top 15. There's only 15 places available in the pros, 15 places available in the amateurs, and 15 places available in the big wheel junior categories. So Saturday, I'm going to be down there on the mic, making sure that everyone gets their 5 minutes of fame, and hopefully see if we can lock those gates in. Then on Sunday, it's going to kick off as everyone goes and chases the cheese. Remember, the pro gates are all going to be chasing down their share of 60,000 Rand and a chance to go up and race against one of the world's very best, Billy Bolt. But remember, South Africa has about 4 or 5 of the world's best enduro cross racers, and they're all going to be on the lineup. So that's coming up this weekend. We've also got an event coming up this weekend for one of our top quad racers and a friend of ours here at Hollywood Hills, and a guy that we talk about a lot at the GXCC's, Farm Jams, and everywhere else he races. And that's Stefan Swanepoel. Swanee often puts together a one race once a year just to give something back to the sport, and he's got that coming up on the 6th as well. So if you don't fancy coming across to ICE, on the 6th, go across and check in with Swanee. All the details are on the advert as posted. Then we start moving forward into what we've been looking forward to in the big gap for the off-season, and that's the next round of the GXCCs. Lahau has been announced. It's just up by Bella Bella area, so we know it's going to be dry, dusty, a little bit bushy, but all we can pray is that this wind that has been hanging out with us this week hangs out a little bit longer. So that's going to be round 5 of the GXCC Championship and the official start of the second half of the GXCC season. I can't wait to get lined up there once again. Then a big change on the calendar, not as far as dates go, but as far as venue goes. So right smack at the end of July, we had the next round of the National Off-Road Championship, which was on the list, on the calendar, for Bloemfontein. Some logistical problems out there in Bloem have actually created a very positive situation. So they couldn't go ahead and run it. And who put his hand up? Our buddy Sharon Moore up at Live Lesotho. And he is now taken over the running of what will be the Lesotho National Off-Road. So we're going to be racing in the valleys, in the lowland areas. Looks like that it's going to be, I almost call it Piramisu, but it sounds like tiramisu. It's the cultural village in the lowland area, around about 15 or 20 k's outside of Masuru. Lovely area, good venue to host us, lots of flatland area, and I'm super excited to get out there for the end of July for that one. And that really is going to take us to the end of July. So we'll wrap up here at Hollywood Hills with that. And as you can see, we're going to be bringing you plenty of information and action for the rest of this month. Next week, we'll pick up all the action from ICE. It'll be a full ICE review, and we're hoping to bring you a little bit of live update on the event as well. So watch out for that. Cheers.